trying to make this a career, you have to work your way around building the confidence to just talk to people and find out what's going on. But I met a person who was also doing that gig, and she basically has a whole agency set up that books actual trained musicians for commercial and TV shoots. So her whole thing is she's kind of seen the industry where some of you will be aware of this, but a lot of times when you see films and adverts, and people playing instruments, they're miming and they're actors that have never played the instrument. So that's when you get people playing like the violin bow upside down or going crazy on a drum fill in like a quiet breakdown on the screen. Happens way more than you think. But her agency was set up to basically counteract this. And through meeting her on that gig, I got offered a couple other bits of work. I got offered an extra work as a featured musician in a film with Idris Elba, so called Yardie. That was straight off the back of uni. And then probably about a year later, I ended up working with her in casting, so actually helping find other musicians when they had very specific briefs to fill. So I came into the kind of artist and typical session world industry backwards through media. I did that. I then got in through someone, I can't even remember who it was, but through my Facebook, someone posted a really vague post saying, I'm looking for musicians for a project. Musicians of all sorts, email so-and-so at bbc.co.uk. And that turned into the CBeebies gig, which I've been doing for the last 7 years now. And all of these little things kind of led to one thing to another, but not directly. It was all indirect through various people on the gig. And I always say it's almost never the people you think it's going to be that gets you the opportunity. So I know I've barely scratched the surface of working in different fields, but let me do a little bit about media versus your kind of function gig versus theatre. So the media world is great. Contracts are better, tends to pay a lot higher if you get contracts right and you don't get taken advantage of, which there is a lot of too. Once you start doing more media work, a lot of those media gigs tend to be kind of just touching full figures or well past it. There was one ad I put out a casting call for that was for an advert filming in Hackney, London, UK. 1 day shoot, piano singer, so same person in a soul style. That was going to be about the advert was $9,000 plus as the quoted fee. And at that point, I was thinking I'm going to learn to play keys and sing for one song and put myself forward for that, because that would have been an easy $9,000. And then there's a lot of work out there in these sorts of categories, but you almost never hear about it, and it's very unpredictable in that space. There is no kind of guaranteed work, regular work in that field. It's all very much as and when. Now, function stuff hits the nice other spot where actually function work is pretty organised. So, you're going to have busy periods of the year, normally basically that entire wedding season. So kind of from about April through to September, October tends to be pretty busy with weddings. And then you'll probably get a flurry of like corporate events hitting November, December time. Or weirdly, this last 2 years actually, January's been busy for corporates, for corporate Christmas events. They've waited till January to push it through. But these tend to be more regular. If the date goes in your diary, it's happening. Booked typically more in advance, like a few months, versus sometimes, especially for weddings, I've got bookings for 2025, and I think there's even one 2026 booking scheduled in there, because we can do that with the weddings. And fees for corporate depends where you are. I would say, if you're kind of established now, you want to be sitting in that, I want to say 250 to 500, ideally 300 plus. But man, like if you're getting started and you get 150 for a corporate, even 100 for a corporate, and you don't have to drive too far. No, 150, 150 and driving. That's more than you're going to get at any kind of part-time job on a Saturday, because that's normally when these are going to happen, Fridays and Saturdays. Now, the one issue with corporates, as I kind of started on, is traveling, lots of traveling and late hours, and you may not be in a position to claim a hotel back afterwards. Theatre is a unicorn gig for musicians in the sense that essentially you take a theatre gig, you can be booked for an entire year, and you'll be on, comparatively, just compared to your average salary, you should be on good money. But it's a lot of work. It's 8 shows a week, for a year. And you get basically Christmas Day off and maybe Boxing Day and maybe New Year's or New Year's Eve, one or the other. So it's a very big commitment, the theatre gig. Can you dip out? Yes. But you have to make sure then that your depths, it's a lot of work for someone to learn a show or have the music for a show and go through it. To dep on it, it's a lot of work to learn a theatre show. To come and do one show